calling salmon the miracle food, really. They call it a miracle food because it's rich in the omega fats. The omega-3 fat specifically is very, very good for you, and nothing has more omega-3 fat than salmon. It's one of the healthiest foods in the world. In one of our pieces of literature, we list the world's healthiest foods, and up at the top is Chinook salmon with its fat content, and I think walnuts and flax oil and things like that. So a big portion of our business is to people who want to eat healthy. Great Glacier Salmon is run by Bob and Celine Gould, who Bob is a former Simon Fraser University professor of economics. And as a project back in the 70s, he founded this fishery on the Stikine River up in northern BC, just south of Wrangell, Alaska. And the objective was to start a fishery in the wild with no electricity, a model of sustainability, a family-run operation, and it worked. It's been around since the 70s. My brother-in-law is the agent for Great Glacier Salmon, and he's responsible for selling the fish. They catch it, he sells it. And he's been selling it to the Canadian market, US and Japanese market for the last 20-odd years. Every time he came to visit me, he would bring me samples of this extraordinary fish that we never saw here. Beautiful Stikine River sockeye and coho and Chinook salmon. It was gorgeous fish, and we used to serve it at dinner parties. People found out about it, and they say, "Hey, Richard, next time your brother-in-law comes, could we get a couple of boxes, or could we get a couple of pieces for us?" And it started to grow. And we'd bring in a few cases at a time, and then my friends in the restaurant business would find out about it, and they'd say, "Richard, maybe you could supply us with a couple of boxes of fish." Our customers seemed to like it. And it grew literally by accident. It was a business that started itself, and I couldn't ignore it. It just kept on growing, and it kept on remaining successful. And here we are. This is our 11th year in business. We started in, I think, 2001 or 2002. And here we are, 2010, and we're still flogging fish from Ottawa to Prince Edward to Belleville, and now the smoked fish to various food shops all over Ontario. We just took over the old Tamworth Hotel, built in 1899. We're renovating it to contain some commercial space, apartments on the upper floors. There's a butcher in the front now. We have our space here. And we decided to add an interesting component to our fish business. Aside from just selling boxes of fish, we decided to smoke our own fish. We buy a lot of smoked fish from the West Coast, from Vancouver, smoked in specialty smokehouses for us. And we thought that it would be interesting and a nice hands-on experience to smoke our own fish here in Tamworth. So we started renovating this little part of the hotel here. We have really what we call our smoke lab. It's not a full-blown smokehouse by any stretch of the imagination, but it gets us doing a few hundred pounds of fish a week, and it teaches us how to do it, and it provides an additional experience, aside from an additional storefront in Tamworth, which serves to help resuscitate the town.
First of all, Richard gets the fish, right, and comes in, and most of it is, if not, is frozen. And so we thaw it out, and that takes a couple of days, and you have to keep it at a certain temperature. And then we brine it after it's thawed out, and usually that stays overnight anywhere. Around that time it's like 8 hours. You don't want to brine it too much. And then we take the the brine fish, and then it was like we put it in a colander here, and it's like drain it out, and then we start putting them on the racks. They have to sit on the racks for a couple hours to dry out again, because there's smoke will not attach itself to anything that's wet. So the surface has to be really sticky and tacky and dry, and that's what gives what lets the smoke stay on the fish. So it stays there for a couple of hours, and then we do a couple of different things. Sometimes we'll do a cure, a glaze on it at first, and sometimes we don't. We get the temperature up to the 225 for actually smoking the fish. Put it in there, in the oven. Put the apple chips in. There's a little chamber there for smoking. There's a little element in the chamber that ignites it doesn't ignite, but it starts the chips to smoke. And depending on what kind of fish it is, you let it sit in there for a couple of hours. and then we can glaze it afterwards and do a double smoke. We do different things with the different fishes.
The location is good for us retail. We had some good press in the Wake Standard recently, and as a result, people are coming in the door. We get to meet some fascinating people coming through the door. Talk about fish, talk about food and recipes and how to prepare it, where the fish comes from. And it's been kind of cool for us to be here in this location and being open to the public. Anybody can walk in our door now. People ask me every day, many times a day, how to cook it. And I'm a bit of a traditionalist, and I use salt and pepper in my fish cooking. I caution people not to overcook it. That's a real sin with wild fish, is to overcook it and dry it out. But just salt and pepper and let the flavor of the fish stand on its own. Don't bury it in sauces or garlic or anything that's untoward to the natural flavors of the fish.